Hello everybody, Possum 911 here. Today this is going to be an unboxing of the RC four-wheel drive long wheelbase chassis kit. Beautifully packed. I went through the box a little bit, but I repacked it up to show you how it looks as you unpack it. The body that's going to go with it is this hard body, this Toyota. This is the same vehicle that was in Back to the Future, but I'm going to do a killer paint job on it. But on the unboxing here, we have the manual and frame rails. Look how pretty that is. Just beautifully packed. The wheels seem really small. This seems like a lot different size. This is a 1/10 scale, but this seems a lot different size wheels than are in my Traxxas. We'll be checking those, upgrading, jacking it up, and larger wheels later. But I'm going to build the kit as expected. Bumpers, side rails. This is all plastic parts here, and which comes, I guess, how it goes. I'm not sure what all the packages have in them. Back end, front end, really is packed very nice. But I've been dying to get into this kit and start working on it. It's been sitting here for a year. Excuse me. And underneath this beast, there's another packet in the bottom of this. You don't want to miss out. You're not missing anything in the kit. You got everything here you need, except there are going to be some requirements you're going to have to add to the kit. The electronics and the motor. I have read a couple of and watched a couple of their unpacking videos and noticed after they complained about how tough the springs were in the vehicle. These are the stock springs. This is an upgraded set. These are softer than the stock. I'm going to put this together with these softer springs. Everything really is here. The only part you're going to need in this kit this is the entire chassis kit. Okay. What you're going to need to finish this kit is the electronics. It needs a motor, which they're requesting a 35T, a 45T, or a 55T. Now, I don't know what that's going to run like in this vehicle, but I'm going to put what they request to go into it. I myself have been running Traxxas for a while, and they were on a 21 tooth in their crawler, and I don't know what this is going to do, but it's probably going to be a lot slower, I think. Maybe I could be wrong. Anyways, the transmitter I already have, and receiver, 3 channels or more, 2 times of the standard size servos, I have those. Battery, a 6-cell nickel metal hydride or LiPo battery, and I definitely have going with LiPo, and a battery charger. I'm going to continue using Traxxas equipment. I actually have another Traxxas radio, Traxxas receiver, speed control from Traxxas. Everything's all wired up and ready to go with that equipment, so I'm going to just use that 3-cell battery. I've got a 2-cell battery if I need to drop it down. But that's all I need besides a few tools to put this together. Everything's spread out here in front of you that came out of the case. It was beautifully packed. I've added a couple of minor things to the vehicle to change it accordingly to how I want it to respond. A lot of people complained about the vehicle being really tough shocks and want to take springs out of the springs. These are the factory springs. I bought lesser tension springs for it on purpose to mount them up on that vehicle instead. Lay the parts out I'm going to do in that step, announce it, and then I'm going to pause the video and build that part, and then show the finished part and different steps. So this is going to be my first step. This is everything laid out in front of you, and I'm going to pour into this manual and read through and bring you along in my build. Hi. Something I would like to say from the start of this building process: keep everything that is labeled in packages organized. Don't dump anything out of the packages. Don't separate it, and don't keep everything laid out. I have it all laid out in front of me in the packages that came in by size, and they're laid also out in groups. This kit looks very organized, and it's very detailed, but you've got to look at the parts very closely. Like when it has you working on the rails, it's showing you a set of rails, and you got to look at the rails and see and compare to the picture exactly what part they're looking at. Make absolutely sure you got it figured out each step, the parts that you're going to use and what they're going to go together and how they're going to go together. Look at them, hold them together, and line them up. This first piece here, to go into this here on the manual, I don't have the screws out yet. They're sitting right there. But this set goes together here. It looks just like the picture, absolutely exactly like that picture. Okay, that's the right part for that. And this is the opposing side, the exact right piece for that side. Minus the screws, that's it. I'm positive of those parts. We're good to go. Another thing is, these are metal parts going in, threaded in with screws and whatnot. Try doing this with balsa wood. And they've got two pieces of wood that are almost alike, and they look, yep, you're good, and you glue the wrong part on the thing. It's, dude, you screwed yourself up against the wall and you can't get yourself down. So we're fortunate that these are all metal. Before you lock everything down and Loctite it all up, make absolutely sure that you have the components laid out properly, and then snug those things up and Loctite them in place. You have to Loctite all the metal parts in the metal or the thing will vibrate apart. That's common. But just really make sure you're looking at the right part, and you're looking at the right position and the right end of it, and the component's going to go into it, and you test fit and you feel those things and make sure they feel right. And when you're good with that, you're ready to go, then take the steps and put the screw in, yep, and Loctite that sucker into place. Yep, you're good to go. That part's done, you know, and then go to the next step. Take your time. Don't rush this job, because if you rush the job, it'll show it in the end and you won't know where you messed up. If you take your time and do each step carefully and snug things up like they're supposed to be, and everything feels right as it's going together, you're good. And when you get to a part where something doesn't feel right, step back, take a look at it, and make sure that those parts are the right parts. It doesn't hurt to pause for a minute, especially if you're getting gummed up in your head and too much at once, or what, stop. Pause it, set it aside, and take it for another day. You know, you don't have to finish this in a day. You don't have to finish this in a week. I've had this thing sitting around for over a year in the cupboard. I've been staring at it for a while because I've been having so much fun with my Traxxas. So you guys just take your time with your steps in each process and make sure you have the right components. Absolutely sure. Okay? Okay, so I've located the parts that are going to do on the first step. You've got the rails, and you've got the funny notches in the area where you're supposed to have them, with the metal component that's going to go into that notch, and the screws to screw it in place. I'm going to just tighten the screws in a little bit as I go along, and then pull each one out and snug it up with Loctite at the end. So that piece is on there like they want in the manual, and the next piece is the other side, goes right in here and screwed in place with M3 times 6mm screws. Come on, buddy. There we go. I'm just putting them again with my fingertips, just snugging them up a little bit. Because you can. That's it. That's the first part of the rails. Not Loctited in place yet, but set up. The next piece, this funny looking angle guy right here, is going to lay up in this little notch for it in the frame. When you look at the notch, you look at the notch in the frame and you see the component lays in that spot. It matches on the manual there where it wants you to put it. Looks just like the picture. The other piece is shaped like a little house. And that piece is the other part of it. And then you need a pair of screws. And these screws are 4 of these, and they're M3 times 8. M3 times 8. I'm going to pop these guys in and come back when I'm done here. I have worked through steps 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5, 6, and I'm ready to go into step 7. Before I get there, I want to state again, I haven't Loctited anything down yet. I am going to go down each rail and Loctite every nut, every single thing that goes into metal, metal to metal. I'm going to Loctite every one of those things with blue Loctite 242. It's strong enough to hold it, but not lock it forever, so you can take it back off if you need to. And I'll do the other side the same way. If you're going screws into plastic, do not use Loctite, and don't Loctite your lock nuts either. Okay, plastic and Loctite don't work together well at all. So I test fit everything first and made sure everything was snugged up, and I'm ready to continue on with the next step. Everything's looking good. It's really easy to follow these steps. I'll get back with you after I get done working on step 7, 8, 9, and 10. We're building one side of the rails and the other side of the rails, and we're going to continue building the one side until we're ready to join the two together. I am going to Loctite everything before I get that far. I wanted to make sure everything was in the right spot the whole way down through, and I actually am going to change up. I'm going to change up my the linkages here. I got a lift kit coming that they're a little bit longer in the front and back on these guys to raise up the body from the shock system, but I also have a lift kit to raise the frame where it's held onto the body chassis, a lift kit to raise that up also. Alright, I'll catch back with you after I've done a couple more steps and let you know what I finished there. I have finished all the steps, and I'm all the way up to step 25 right now. I'm going to start working on leaf springs. But everything before that, remember I went through the whole vehicle and I didn't Loctite anything? Well, I got to the point where I'm like, okay, I have to go through now and Loctite everything. And I made sure that I did not Loctite where there's plastic and metal. No plastic's going to get Loctite. But metal on metal, every single thing got Loctite. Every single thing. So it's all assembled up to this point. And the next steps I'm going to take on, and I'm going to take off camera, is I'm going to be doing the leaf spring setup with the front and rear axles. That'll be steps 25, 26, 27, 28. And probably pause in there. I might do some of this on camera, I might not, but it's pretty basic. Everything's easy to follow. All the steps are pretty obvious, but you've got to pay close attention to left and right, and left and rear and front, rear, and you know, pay attention to every little detail. Don't miss anything. It's good to test everything before you Loctite it. That's why I built the whole frame first and then Loctite it after it was all together. So I'm going to do the same steps. I'm going to not Loctite the new parts yet. I'm going to make sure it all fits together right, that I haven't made any mistakes, and then when I have it all right, I'm going to Loctite that down too. On my project, I've been working on my RC four-wheel drive 1987 Toyota XtraCab Hard Body, the complete set. Got a couple last little things to do to the vehicle. It looks completely done, but I'm gonna do, well, the electronics I haven't been put in yet. I am gonna put a lift kit in it to raise the body up because I want more clearance off the tires. These are not the factory tires. These are the factory tires. And I'd like to put on these bad babies. Mudslingers, but I don't know. I'm just going to run it with the tires I have on it now. I have to put all the electronics in it. Again, I'm going to raise the vehicle, but I also have some lift things to adjust. I want to lift the vehicle also. I have more things coming for the vehicle besides what you see here. I have the full engine compartment coming. I'm going to enjoy working on it a little bit more. I am going to put on steel guards, and I have the double tubing roll bars and tailgate and front end that goes on from the vehicle from Back to the Future. So we'll see what we get, but it's all going to be all metal. It's not going to be plastic parts on this thing. It's going to be metal brush guards and bumpers. We'll get back to you later on another video in the final very end of this one, and then we'll show it on the trail. There's quite a lot of snow outside. Today I had to shovel the snow so I could look out my front window. So you guys have a good season. I certainly had a good winter project that kept me busy. I've been in a good mood. And we'll get back to you in the next section of the build, with the very final part with the decals all finished and everything. I really had a good time building this thing. I absolutely loved every second of it. I'm going to be doing some changes to the shocks, I'm going to lift the vehicle from the leaf springs area, and I'm also going to lift the vehicle from the chassis onto the body. I am going to get the KC mounted lights on there, but I have a feeling they're going to probably get messed up rolling this thing over sometime or another, so I might just go putting this Traxxas light bar on it, which these really work really good. I really want to be able to see at night. I drive at night. I have my course lit at night, but I also like the lit vehicle because I do take it on a single track in my trailer around the property, single track trailer around my property. So anyways, I still have the process of putting the decals on the vehicle. And also I am going to do the under the hood kit that shows an engine inside of that compartment. That's going to look pretty sweet. I can't pass that up. And the fact that it has an opening hood is the whole reason why I got this in the first place. So yeah, the whole thing opens up beautiful. It looks great. I really like the black interior. I did I brought steel wool, sanded the carpet areas to make the carpet look a little different texture than the seats and whatnot, to give it a little bit more flavor inside. We'll get to that later. Actually, I don't even have the rear view mirror mounted yet. I should have mounted that already, but I'm going to be hanging from that some scale items. There's going to be more scale things added to this, including things in the back of the cab and the bed of the truck. So I'll get back to you in another chunk of video at the very end of this. Possum 911 here, the last stage of my build. The next step will be finishing the radio equipment to drive this sucker. I went on the front here on the roof line. I fixed a boo-boo. I put some decals on the front of this that I decided I didn't want. I took them off and I wiped with alcohol to clean off the residue, and it took away some of the paint and ruined my finish. So instead of respraying the roof, which is the next step if I decide to do that, I decided to try the stripe theme with the white. I bought some vinyl. Metal sidebars coming. I got the double roll bars front and back with a roll cage on the top, the double pipes. I like that look a lot on the vehicle, but I didn't like the color of Marty's truck in Back to the Future. I like this flip-flop paint job a lot better. When you look at the flip-flop paint job, if you're looking at the paint job with the sun on one side, it's going to be one color. With the sun on the other, it's going to be another color. And when the sun falls off to the side, it'll show you teal blue. I really like that flip-flop paint job. It's pretty cool. Last couple of servos to go in here and she'll be ready to drive. I went with a little bit larger size tires. I went with a little bit larger size front shocks because I got a high lift kit in the front, and I added some stuff in the back, accessories to give it some really good angles with the leaf springs. It was a pretty neat kit. I enjoyed it all together. The whole building kit was easy to follow, very, very easy. I would suggest this kit to anybody if you have the money to throw into a kit. Of course, I know the paint job is going to get ruined if I go rolling this thing, and I'm not going to try to roll it or do any stupid things with it, but I am going to drive it, and if I get any scars on it, it's going to be well earned. It'll force me to do another paint job on it eventually, maybe, if I ever get to it. But I do have a driver going to go into it also. I have a driver for this. Ash from Evil Dead is going to be the driver for this, without the chainsaw on his right hand. Anyways, it was a great build. I suggest it to anybody if they want to spend the money and build from the ground up a complete kit. The RC4WD drive long body, long chassis kit, and the Toyota 1987 XtraCab. The roll bars, the front bumper and the back bumper was extra money, and it wasn't cheap, but it was definitely well worth it. I am going to drive this quite a bit. I do have a plastic body, the typical RC body to put on this to drive it with for a while, but this is my 3D hard body kit finish. And again, thanks for following me through this build. I appreciate it. Altogether, the kit came together nice. I used Traxxas equipment in the vehicle because I have a lot of Traxxas batteries and excess Traxxas equipment. On the bottom, I have mounted the ESC down here to push the button and hold it and watch what channel you're in and then let her go. And I think that's going to be pretty cool because the body screws on and off. You put the battery in there, set it up, screw the battery, screw it on, it's ready to go. You don't want the power on all the time because you got to undo it again. I have got a dead man coming, It's going to be an item that's going to be in the back of the truck, and it's got a separate piece on the top that comes apart and breaks the electric connection. And with a piece on there, you got power on, and with a piece off, you've got no power. So you can leave your battery hooked up in the vehicle, and when you're ready to drive, put this piece on there and you're ready to go. When you want to charge the battery, don't charge the battery in the vehicle. Take the battery out of the vehicle, or you may suffer a lipo fire and suffer the consequences by destroying a model. Better off to have a lipo fire and just kill the battery and not everything you put into it. So the dead man's a great idea. It's not cheap, but it's definitely worth it. So that's going to look pretty cool. You can paint the dead man up any colors you want. It's going to go on the back of the truck, and on the bottom again is my ESC, my Traxxas ESC. So I can push this and hold and see what channel I'm in, and then ready to go. I got high leaf springs in front and back with some accessories to give them some really cool angles to bend at. It's a nice looking kit, full on leaf springs and everything. It just is beautiful, and I enjoyed building this like those people that have that little rake thing and do the peaceful thing with there, or the bonsai trait. No, this is my meditation. Building this, taking the time with this, it really is my meditation, my happy place. And it keeps me close to my brother Ralph, who I lost when he was 19 and I was 12. Big boys and their toys, you know. What reasons we have them, you never know. But it keeps me close to my family and my loved ones. I know my father's looking down on my course, seeing these things on my track, enjoying every minute of it, I'm sure. I wish he was here to see it in real life. I built my course in dedication to my father. So you'll see the next video will be linked at the end of this when I have it driving, and I'll show you it on the course. The course is covered with snow right now, but we'll have it back soon. And I did paint this instead of black. I went with the flip-flop paint job, which is with the sun on one side of the vehicle, it's going to be green. With the sun on the other side of the vehicle, it's going to be purple. And with the sun on the opposite side, on either side, I believe it's going to hit a teal color. You'll really see the colors out in the sunlight when I'm driving it. And I hope you enjoyed the build. I would highly suggest getting this kit and building it. It was a lot of fun. It really was. A couple little accessories. I always put a mountain scene in the back window, like any old redneck has that. You can see through it one way and you can't through the other, so they have a nice scene in the back window. And the coolest thing about this kit is the working doors. And oh yeah, I didn't even show you I bought a hood kit for this. So we have the full-on build right inside the cockpit there. I'm going to take the camera and move it down in there to get a good shot at it. I put the extra wires and stuff in there. I thought it looked pretty cool to add the extras in it. Sure made it a lot more fun. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the kit. I hope you enjoyed the build, or following me on my build. And remember, when you're out there playing, if you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. Y'all take care now, you hear?